pole bean. You can see we've still got good beans on these. The thing I love about these, you pick them in several different stages. Like right here, you can pick this bean. This is good snapping. Pop that end off, that end off. That one's kind of small, but you can see that is a good snapping bean. I'll put that in a bucket. I've got a bucket that I'm picking a few. When it gets to this stage, a lot of people won't throw stuff away. There's still a good bean in that. I pick these and shell them. They make wonderful beans. But my main goal right now is I'm picking the dried ones. I've let them go for a little while. I've got several different stages of these beans right here, and I can get it all at one time. I'm probably gonna go ahead today and clean these vines off, because the vines, you can see, are starting to die. We're September the 9th right now, so stuff's pretty much coming to an end. But I'm still picking these. You can see these dried up beans. And what I'm doing is I'm saving seed. This will be the seed that I plant next year. So you've seen some of my other videos, some of the seed that I've been saving. This is probably one of the plants that got me into seed saving. This one's really easy to do. These seeds save real well. They're not finicky. And when I say finicky, that's my country word for some seeds. You have to be really careful how you save them, where you put them, what you process them. Bugs will get in them. This is what I would consider a hardy type seed. I've had good luck. I haven't had to worry about weevils getting in there and eating them up. Pretty much what I've done with these is I'll take these home and I'll just crunch the seed up in my hand, and I'll show you this process in a little bit. And then I put the seed in like an ice cream bucket or a coffee can, whatever. Plastic can with a lid on the top, and I can set them on the shelf in my shed, and they're good till next year when I get ready to plant. So, but now right now you can see I'm gonna pull just about every bean that I see, no matter what it is, what stage it's in. Most of the time when I'm being selective and I'm picking a certain thing. But right now I've got a container to put my dried stuff in, and then everything else that I see. I mean, you see there's some big fat beans right here. Those are, I mean, that's a beautiful bean right there. Great eating. So we're not gonna waste anything. We're gonna clean these vines completely up today. I'll get back with you though when we start saving these seeds. This is my rattlesnake pole beans here. This is my butter beans. This is a running butter bean that my grandfather grew. I'm not even sure the name of it, but I've been growing it a couple of years. One of the reasons I went ahead and picked today is it's been dry with no rain for like 2 or 3 weeks. We hadn't even had a shower. So this stuff is good and dry, primed to be picked, and it's dry and ready to just put up. If things are damp, if it's rained in the last couple of days, you're gonna wanna hang this up. Put this in a mesh bag like I did my pea seed in a previous video. You can go back and watch that. Like an onion sack or whatever, and just hang them up under a shed. They'll dry out, and I would leave them there. But being these are really, really dry, there's a couple of different ways to do this. You can put them in a bag, but a lot of this you can just crunch up, or you can take them and you can pretty well just shell the beans out. It's not that hard. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. It takes a little while either way you're gonna do it. Now if you put these in something that you can see, I mean, you pretty well getting seed, and you can see these beans, they're pretty dry, but they're in good shape. But if you follow my channel very long, I preach seed saving. If you're gonna garden, you're gonna raise your own vegetables, I mean, I realize that to get started, you've got to get seeds somewhere, you got to buy them. And for the average person just gardening, it's cheaper and easier to just go buy seed every year. It don't cost that much. But there's been times like this year when coronavirus started, was right at gardening season. I know my mother and father went to town a couple of times trying to get certain plants. They were out of them. They couldn't get in the store. They wasn't allowed in the store. Just different things. Depending on where you live is how readily available things are going to be. So what you're preparing for is you're preparing homesteading to not have to go do that kind of stuff. The second reason I preach seed saving so much is when I grow this seed in my environment where I live, the way that our climate is, this seed naturally adapts to that. Year after year, it gets more and more adapted to that. So you wind up, now, you're probably not going to notice a drastic difference in 2 years. But if you keep saving this seed for 10 years, it's going to work better for you. Our grandparents had a better success rate because they were raised during the Depression. They saved their own seeds. They saved them year after year, and their plants just did better because those plants were adapted, and those seeds were adapted to their environment. And the reason that I do this and make these videos and probably seed saving and stuff was one of the things that got me into homesteading and got me to want to make videos and the gardening in general, was because when I started doing it, I wasn't very successful at it. I had, watched my parents do it for years. I just had never done it on my own. And when I decided I'm going to grow my own garden, I'm not going to just go pick out of theirs, I didn't have a good success rate, and I didn't know how to do that. Fortunately, I had people around immediately that I could ask that could tell me how to do this, how to do that. And I realize there's a generation out there now that maybe your parents didn't even grow a garden. Maybe you just got up one day and decided, hey, I'm going to move out in the rural areas and start living this way. It's a great life. I promise. It's a lot of work, but it's a great life. But I want to share what I have learned, and sometimes things don't go well. Even me knowing what I know, I'm not having the best success every year with everything. I have things every year that do really well, and then I have some things that just flop. This year, my corn that I saved the seed out of last year, apparently it got damp some point through the seed saving process. I put it in a freezer. It did not do well. So this year, I kept the seed that I had. I still had some of that same seed that was, luckily for me, it was still on the cob in a sack out here in a crib. Very dry, had not gotten wet. And I shelled it off and I let it sit out, made sure it was good and dry. And I put it in the freezer. And I could tell the difference in it by the way that seed felt when I put my hand in that than what I had got out of the freezer. So just because you watch me tell you how to do this, or you have a neighbor or your parents or your grandfather, whoever tells you how to do it, don't mean that you know how. We have a lot of people in America today that think they can watch these YouTube videos and they know how to do it. That's not the case. This is one of those things like firecraft. You need to go practice it. You need to go out, even if you know you can go buy seed next year, you need to try to save your own seed and try to plant it and make it grow. Because if it gets to a place where we've got to have our own seed, you need to know what you're doing. You don't need to try then to learn. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing it. I can order these seed for $10. I can get a pound of these seed right here. No question in my mind. Next year I can buy the exact same seed. But I want to know that it's one thing, there's satisfaction in knowing that I saved these seed. So I'm going to finish. I'm not going to talk too awful much. I just wanted to show you these several different ways. This way you see me shelling these out. You can take these on a sheet cloth, and you can just crunch this up like this. And this is probably the fastest way to do it. Those seed are going to sift to the bottom of this. I can do it in this sack. This is not as good, but you're going to basically sift them. And what that means is you'll take this then, and you can, on a sheet, you can kind of toss it up in the air, and the wind, if the wind's blowing, the wind will blow this shell in part away. The seeds are heavier, they're going to fall right to the bottom. So right now, I know this box has got a bunch of seed in the bottom of it. And there went one shooting out across the table. I'll have to go find it. Now some of these softer ones, I should have left that one in the bucket, but it will eventually dry. I'm gonna leave these out. I'm not gonna put them in the freezer just yet. But like this, I've got this up. Those seeds are falling out. But you need a sheet or something because I'm having a hard time getting them to go right back in this box. You see them bouncing across the table. But I'm just showing you the technique. Oh, because you can, yeah, you hear them seeds rattling in the bottom of that. That, and then these are the butter beans right here. What I'm gonna do is when I get them shelled out and I know they're dry, I've got a couple of bags, put them in a Ziploc bag, label that bag where you know what they are, and freeze them. Or either you can leave them in a bag that has ventilation, hang them up outside under a shed. But I promise you need to be practicing saving your seed. Go out, make sure everything's dry. It's critical that these seeds are dry when you put them wherever you're gonna put them. That is very, very important. But it's not hard. It's not a hard thing to save your own seed, and it don't take long. I went through there in about 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and picked all of this. Plus, I picked enough. I picked a half of a 5-gallon bucket full of peas. Maybe not quite a half a bucket, but this is my rattlesnake pole beans. I'm gonna shell them and just get the beans out of them instead of snapping them. They're good. I love them that way. But anyway, I'm gonna sign off. But thank y'all for watching my videos. Like this video. I appreciate your support. We're trying to get some videos going. My wife, she's got her own channel now. Look up Southern Mud Pottery on the Homestead. And she's got some videos. A lot of our pottery stuff's gonna be going into that channel. She's got some homestead and stuff that we're putting on her channel. Support her. Go check that out. It's Southern Mud Pottery on the Homestead. But thank you guys for watching.